In continuation of the previous video, now we have 8 positive, so it's gonna be something between, so I'm gonna put 8.5 negative. So you see it gets close, so we play like that until we get the answer. So now we go for 8.45. You see it gets closer and closer to 0. 8.44, and it's the last try. You make it closer and closer. So that type of play, that was the reason. In terms of understanding some logics, this trial and error is very good. That's the reason in the PowerPoint it shows you this, because it helps you to understand the logic behind calculation of the rate of return. Although it is not the easiest way to get that. And here the answer is 8.44%. Financial cases are very diverse. I can say infinite cases outside. So there are not one model fits every situation. That makes understanding it in depth a vital part of learning. Here, everything is the same as before, just the structure is different. A student is borrowing $1,000 per year for 3 years. So here we have payment. And since it is borrowing, it is getting money upward. The loan will be repaid 2 years later. So 2 years after these 3 years at 15% interest rate. Find F. So it is asking you how much the student needs to pay after 5 years. As I have always told you, first start with drawing the cash flow diagram. Nothing happened at 0, so no present value, but the borrowing happened for 3 years. So here we have 3 years and it is $1,000. 1, 2, 3. And the loan will be repaid 2 years later. So you are going to pay it 2 years later. And since it is payment, it would be downward. F. Here it is asking you about F, how to calculate it. And you know, you should do everything in a way that everything would be equivalent. Stop the video and try to do it on your own. If you try to solve this problem but you couldn't and still you need more help, let me give you these tips. When you want to handle this type of thing that now a little bit different from the previous part, you can do this in 2 ways. One way is you calculate the present value of these 3 payments that you have here. Okay, so the present value you get the present value of this thing, like something like this, and then equalize this P with this F. It would be easy in that situation. So you see, you get around this difficulty here. How you are going to handle that? First, you calculate the present value of these things, and after that you are going to handle it like the previous part. You are going to say the students is getting, for example, $2,900 now. How much they need to pay after 5 years? So did you pay attention to the narration, that how we make it easier? Instead of these things 1 year they skip and they want to pay 2 years later, we just calculate the present value of these 3 payments and we get this. And now the narratives changes to this. The student is getting $2,900 now. How much they should pay after 5 years with 15% interest. I don't want to confuse you to go for the other ways that you can do it, but I hope now it has opened a window in your mind to all the other possibilities you can apply to get the answer for this question. So stop the video, now try it again. Here we have a more professional illustration of this problem. Here we have a tabular format, here we have visual format. So now we go for Excel to go for the calculations I just discussed. Okay, here we are trying to calculate the present value of 3 payments. The rate is 15%. The number of payments 3, and each payment is 1,000. That's it. So what is the present value of these 3 payments that the students receive in 3 years? It is $2,283. Now we are going to calculate the future value of this present value to see how much the students need to pay after 5 years with interest rate of 15%. So we just go with the calculation of FV. What is the interest rate? It is 15%. What is the number of periods? 5 periods. PMT, we don't have any PMT. And what is the present value? Present value we just calculated. So I put the address of the cell. And that's it. The answer is $4,592 the students need to pay for that. Get back here. I always believe solving financial problems are highly intellectually rewarding. I hope you start to feel that reward and feeling good after solving any of these challenges. Now, when you look at these, you may come up with the idea why I should do that. I can very easily calculate the future value of this 1,000 as F1. Future value of this as F2, and future value of this as F3. And I'm going to calculate F1 plus F2 plus F3. Absolutely, you are right, my friends. That's also another way. There are many other ways that you can do it. And that's the beauty of financial analysis. There is no one strict, solid way of doing things. Just trust your brain and come up with a brilliant idea and do it the way you believe is the best. Let's try this approach on an Excel sheet. To see the process, I will show you step by step what we are going to do. We have future value of 15%. For the first payment, it happens after 4 years, correct? Because it happens at year 1. And we want to see what is the future value at 5. So NPR is 4. Payment 0 and PV is 1000, correct? Now we have that 1000. We want to see what is the future value of this. Okay, we get this, and we are going to repeat this for the other two payments. The only difference is that the second payment happens after 3 years, and the last one, the future value, is after 2 years. So the future value of all that 1000 payments that you are making is this. Now we are going to calculate some of these ones. So summation of these is exactly the same as this. Isn't it beautiful? Okay, I'm gonna pass it and I stop considering other scenarios. But remember one thing, whatever scenario, whatever approach you are taking to calculate that this F, the answer should be the same as I showed you, 4,592. Example 4.9. What must be deposited in a saving account paying 15% interest to support 3 later withdrawals? Very practical question. A question that many companies constantly need to think about. How much money I need to keep in that account so I can't do this financing without any problem considering the interest rate. So here we have the present value, the amount of money that you are going to put in the account to receive 15% interest rate. So after 2 years, you are going to withdraw, or your customer client going to withdraw 2,000. After 3 years, 3,000, and finally 4,000. And I'm sure you can come up with many ideas to calculate this. Some of you gonna calculate the present value of this 2,000, present value of 3,000, present value of 2,000, and get it. But now I want you to go for more sophisticated approaches because it's about learning. Okay? At this point, you are learning. It is not exam. It is not something that you want to make sure your answers are correct and there is a big risk to any mistakes. So go for sophisticated approaches. For example, let me tell you what's that. Of course, what you said is correct to calculate all the things that you just said, but let's do it in this way. Let's consider it as 3 payments. Okay? I'm going to make it more difficult, I'm telling you, but this way it is more sophisticated. So we are going to have 3 PMT of 2,000, and also here we are going to have 1,000. Sorry for confusing you. Confusing not. Sorry for making it more challenging, but you are going to get a stronger brain and better training. So you have 3 payment, 1,000, 2,000, and 1 payment at the time of 3. And now calculate the present value of the things. Stop the video, go ahead and get the answer from different approaches and check it. Even don't wait for me to show you the answer, the correct answer, because when you do it from different ways and you get the same answer, it's a big proof that you have done it correctly. Even you don't need to check it with me. Here is the model I just described. The future value of 3,000. Here we get it. After that, the future value of that 1,000. And here is the summation of them. And here the present value of that future value that gives you the answer. Here it is the other one. the one that is easier. So you have 3 payments and you do present value of the first 2,000 that you are paying after 2 years. In fact, withdrawal. The other one happens at year 3, but this time 3,000. And the last one at year 4, and again 2,000. So you are going to calculate the present value of all these 3 withdrawals, and summation of them gives you the present value, the amount of deposit that you need to put into account to make able, with the help of the interest the account receives, those withdrawals become possible. I'm going to show you this one again to notice what happened. In the easy way, we just follow this. We calculate the present value of this, present value of this, and present value of this. P1, P2, and P3, and summation of them gave us this one. But the part that I made it more complicated, we make it in this way. We make it a way 3 payment with 2,000. And we calculate the future value because we wanted to get everything here to avoid this empty spot. And after that, we have another 1,000 here because we have already calculated this 2,000 here. So we have 1,000. So we are going to calculate the future value of this 1,000. And we have now F1, F2. And now we have this. And we calculate the summation of this F1, F2 future value. We get it to the equivalent present value. I'm going to show it again to you here that what we did. See, we've calculated the future value of 3 payments of 2,000. As you can see, 2,000, 3 payment, 15%. So it is the future value of that 3 payments. But still, there is a tiny $1,000 amount remaining on year 3. We should calculate the future value of that as well. Future value, the interest rate, 15%. It just needs 1 year because I'm going to show you again. Oh, now it's become messy. Now it's better. So when you want to calculate the future value of this 1,000 year, it is just 1 year. So n equal to 1 to get the future value. So that's the reason. You see here 15%, 1 period, 0, and 1,000 because we don't have any payment anymore. And after that, now we have this future value. This future value, so we need to calculate the summation of them. It's 8,000 something. And now that you have the future value, you can calculate the present value of this thing. So present value at the interest rate of 15%. How many years? 4 years. No payment. And what is the future value that you want to calculate the present value? $8,095. That here, instead of typing the number, I put the address of the cell that contains that value. Keep working on this and try to do other scenarios, other techniques, other way of modeling, but always the answer should be the same. As you can see here, 4,626 for this way of handling it, and here we have 4,626. This is simple, but here it is intellectually rewarding and also helps you understand the logic better.